Jonah Cromwell stood at the train station, suitcase in hand, watching the familiar landscape of his hometown fade into the distance. A mix of excitement and dread churned within him, each click of the wheels against the tracks echoing the rhythm of his racing heart. Thoughts of family and friends swirled in his mind, faces filled with pride, concern, and unspoken doubts. Enlisting felt like a duty, a calling to defend what he loved, yet the weight of expectations pressed heavily on his shoulders. As the train pulled away, he cast one last glance at the fields where he had played as a boy, now just a fading memory. He felt the thrill of adventure, mingled with the gnawing fear of the unknown. With each passing moment, he ventured deeper into a journey that would forever alter his understanding of heroism and sacrifice, stepping into a world where whispers of war awaited him just beyond the horizon. Life at boot camp was a relentless whirlwind of early mornings and grueling drills, where every utterance of a commanding officer echoed in the air like a whip cracking. Jonah found himself alongside new faces, each one a mix of fear and bravado, tightly knit by shared struggle. Bonds formed over shared exhaustion and laughter during scarce moments of respite, forging a broth of brotherhood that made the harshness more bearable. He watched as his fellow recruits pressed on, some hiding their fear beneath bravado, while others wore their trepidation openly. In the communal showers, amidst shared stories and camaraderie, Jonah felt a sense of belonging bloom within him, a comforting reminder that they were all in this together. As the weeks wore on, the weight of their training became less about survival and more about loyalty, preparing them for the chaos that lay just beyond the horizon of their newfound brotherhood. The eerie stillness broke as Jonah's heart raced, the anticipation of combat igniting a primal fear within him. He clutched his rifle tightly as they advanced into the disorienting chaos of the French countryside. The sounds of gunfire pierced the air, sharp and unforgiving, a cacophony that drowned out the training's echoing lessons. Jonah's mind raced between instinct and the desperation of survival. His training felt like a distant memory amidst the brutal reality unfolding around him. Chaos reigned as a fellow soldier stumbled, but there was no time for hesitation. Adrenaline surged through him, and he fought against the confusion of fear and duty. A flicker of disbelief crossed his mind. This was not the gallant warfare he had envisioned. In the throes of battle, Jonah confronted a newfound darkness, grappling with the fragility of life and the chilling instinct to endure, even as the world around him erupted into turmoil. The silence after the gunfire felt deafening, an oppressive weight that settled over Jonah like a thick fog. Just moments ago, chaos had reigned, screams echoing in his ears, each sound a jarring reminder of the fragility of life. Now, as the smoke cleared, he struggled to comprehend the fresh void left by Tom's absence, his closest friend, taken in an instant. Jonah knelt beside the spot where Tom had fought valiantly. The image of his last smile haunted him, a stark contrast to the carnage surrounding them. Guilt gnawed at Jonah's insides. Why was he alive when Tom wasn't? The camaraderie they had forged in the trenches now felt like a cruel joke. In the depths of his sorrow, he wrestled with the harsh truth that heroism could just as easily lead to heartache. As shadows began to creep across the battlefield, Jonah knew that this loss would forever alter his understanding of courage. The night draped itself over the trenches like a heavy, suffocating blanket. Jonah peered into the impenetrable darkness, the sounds of distant artillery echoing in his ears, a reminder of the chaos that lurked just beyond. As he gripped his rifle, fear settled in the pit of his stomach, twisting like a vice. The dim flicker of a nearby lantern illuminated the faces of his comrades, their eyes reflecting the shared terror that bound them together. Whispers threaded through the cold air, tales of those who had fallen, creating a chorus of ghosts that haunted his thoughts. Sleep eluded him, replaced by visions of battle, blood, chaos, and the screams of the wounded. Each sound seemed to creep closer, leaving him resting with nightmares that crawled into his waking mind. Yet as he listened to the steady breaths of his brothers in arms, Jonah clung to the fragile hope that they would see another dawn. Just as despair threatened to consume him, the first hints of dawn painted the horizon, offering a sliver of solace amid the inescapable darkness. The distant sounds of artillery faded as Jonah sat under the flickering light of a lantern, pen poised over another letter to his family. He closed his eyes, envisioning the warmth of their kitchen, the laughter of his younger siblings, and the aroma of his mother's Sunday roast. Each word he wrote felt heavy with longing, a poignant reminder of the joyful simplicity he had traded for the chaos of war. Memories danced in his mind. A sunny afternoon by the riverbank, the thrill of village festivities, and the solidarity of friendships forged in childhood. Yet amid this nostalgia lay the gnawing ache of absence, the stark contrast to the starkness of his current reality. As he set the letter aside, he felt a surge of hope mixed with despair, the steadfastness of love anchoring him, even as the horizon remained steeped in uncertainty. Through the veil of longing emerged a quiet resolve to endure for them and for himself. The biting chill of the morning air was a stark contrast to the warmth radiating from the camaraderie shared among soldiers. Today's quiet, an unexpected pause in the chaos, brought thoughts of humanity pressing against the harsh realities of war. As Jonah dug into his rations next to a muddy trench, laughter erupted from a cluster of men huddled nearby. Their banter was a dazzling reminder of life before the war. Suddenly, the tension gave way to an unlikely encounter. A German soldier, his face etched with the same weariness Jonah felt. In a moment suspended in time, they exchanged words, sharing their fears and dreams in fractured phrases, a common humanity surfacing amidst the enmity that separated them. Jonah returned to his comrades, heart heavy with the realization that they were not so different after all, each fighting for a reason, each longing for peace. It lingered in his mind, a whisper of doubt intertwining with resolve, as he tucked that fleeting connection deep into his heart. The journey into the French village felt surreal, like stepping into a painting untouched by the shadows of war. The cobblestone streets, lined with quaint houses adorned with vibrant flowers, offered a brief reprieve from the brutality of the battlefield. Jonah and his comrades, weary from months of conflict, found solace in the laughter of children playing nearby, their carefree shouts ringing like music against the oppressive silence of the front lines. As they shared meals with local families, Jonah savored simple pleasures, fresh bread, warm laughter, and stories exchanged across language barriers. The camaraderie among the soldiers deepened amidst these moments of joy, a stark contrast to the harrowing memories that haunted them. For the first time in months, Jonah felt the weight of fear lift, replaced by a fleeting sense of normalcy. Yet, even in this sanctuary, he couldn't shake the feeling that it was but a fragile illusion, bound to shatter as the war loomed ever closer. The looming task weighs heavily on Jonah's heart as he sits on the edge of his cot, staring into the dimly lit space around him. Anxiety gnaws at him, a bittersweet companion in the night. The whispers of previous battles echo in his mind, each one a reminder of the terror that awaits in the next mission. Jonah's hands tremble slightly as he pens another letter home, a futile attempt to mask his fears with reassurances. He finds solace in the camaraderie of his fellow soldiers, who gather in quiet huddles, sharing stories and laughter to drown out the dread. Their faces, etched with weariness, yet illuminated by fleeting moments of levity, deepen the bonds between them. As the night stretches on, Jonah understands that, amidst the ever-present fear, it is this brotherhood that reignites a flicker of courage within him, reinforcing the strength they draw from one another as they prepare for the unknown ahead. As dawn broke, an eerie stillness hung in the air, a deceptive calm before the storm. Jonah felt the weight of anticipation settle heavily on his chest, a tension that was almost tangible. With each passing moment, his heart raced, thoughts swirling as he tried to prepare himself for what lay ahead. The camaraderie he had built with his fellows bolstered his resolve, yet doubts lingered at the edges of his mind, whispering fears of failure. Suddenly, the tranquility shattered as the enemy opened fire. Chaos erupted, gunfire rattled through the air, and men cried out in desperation. Jonah's instincts kicked in, driving him to leap into action. As he navigated the turmoil, he witnessed the fragility of life, friends falling, moments of loyalty abruptly cut short. Each decision became a dance with death, and the bitter lesson of survival became starkly clear. War was indifferent to heroism. Jonah sat in the dimly lit barracks, the weight of the night pressing down on him like the heavy blanket of impending dread. Orders had come through for their next mission, and as he stared at the flickering candle, he couldn't shake the gnawing feeling deep in his gut. The task at hand didn't sit well with him. It felt like a betrayal of the very values they had vowed to uphold. He recalled the anguished faces of civilians caught in the crossfire of war, their silent pleas piercing through the soldierly bravado. Jonah knew that following orders without question would lead him down a path he'd rather not tread. The room was thick with the scent of sweat and anxiety, yet his comrades shared knowing glances, the tension uniting them in a silent pact. As he wrestled with the moral implications of their mission, he realized that the true battle lay not just against the enemy, but within himself. As Jonah trudged through the remnants of a town devastated by conflict, he felt an unsettling heaviness in his heart. The streets, once vibrant with life, were now filled with silence, an echo of the laughter and warmth that seemed a distant memory. Scattered debris told stories of lives shattered and dreams extinguished, reminding him of the fragility of existence. He paused to observe a mother cradling her child amidst the rubble, her sorrow evident yet tempered by a fierce determination to protect what remained. In these ruins lay powerful lessons, resilience and the haunting beauty of survival against insurmountable odds. Jonah grappled with the emotional weight of loss, reflecting on how the ravages of war had transformed not just the landscape, but also the psyche of those who survived. As he shared these thoughts with his comrades, their conversations shifted from despair to a fragile hope, a testament to human tenacity, even in the darkest times. As the trenches whispered with the night's stillness, Jonah found solace in pen and paper, crafting letters he would never send. Each word poured forth like a lifeline thrown into a stormy sea, a desperate attempt to confide his fears and dreams. He wrote of the memories that haunted him, the laughter of friends lost to the chaos, the warmth of home that felt both near and impossibly distant. There was a yearning in every stroke of the pen, a longing to share the weight of his heart with those who could never fully understand his wounds. With each unsent letter, Jonah unearthed layers of emotion, laying bare the burden of unexpressed grief and hope. These intimate confessions revealed a truth he dared not voice aloud, that in the depths of war, the fight was not just for survival, but for the fragile connections that tethered him to humanity and warmth amid the darkness. The solemnity of Tom's funeral hung in the air like an unshakable veil as Jonah stood among his comrades, grappling with the harsh reality of their loss. The makeshift grave, adorned with a simple wooden cross, symbolized not just the end of a life, but the vanishing of laughter and dreams that had once filled their days. Jonah's heart ached with grief, the kind that spiraled into questions of mortality and the sense of purpose that had driven him to enlist. As he listened to the muffled words of remembrance, he found himself reflecting on the fragility of life. Each name honored a reminder of the price they paid for their duty. He clutched Tom's letters, remnants of their friendship, each word a bittersweet echo. Amid the sorrow, Jonah resolved to carry Tom's spirit forward, his sacrifice igniting a fierce determination to protect and honor the fallen as they fought on in a world forever altered. As the war drags on, the shadows of my fallen friends linger ever closer, their whispers haunting my thoughts like specters in the night. Each memory of their laughter, their courage, ricochets through my mind, blurring the lines between reality and the ghosts of our shared past. I find myself reaching for them in quiet moments, desperate to hold on to the connection we forged amidst chaos. My nights are restless, filled with nightmares of shattered dreams and the faces of those who will never return. In the trenches, the weight of their absence presses heavily on my chest, suffocating my spirit. We talk of them in hushed tones, exchanging stories that feel both sacred and sorrowful. I wonder if this will ever fade, if the echoes of their sacrifices will allow me to find peace. The tension of war is relentless, but it is the specters of friendship that sow seeds of resilience within me. Preparing for battle, a heavy silence envelops the air, thick with unspoken fears that cling to my chest like a weight. The men around me share a mixture of determination and dread, their faces lit by the dim light of the campfire, roughened by the trials we've endured together. As I listen to their stories, I'm reminded of how deeply we've bonded through shared fears. Each laugh is a defiant act against the looming shadow of death. Yet, there's an undercurrent of anxiety that pulls at me. I can feel it in my bones. What will tomorrow bring? I steel myself with thoughts of my brothers in arms, their courage replenishing my resolve as I clutch my rifle, a symbol of my duty and the price of our allegiance. As darkness deepens, I close my eyes, hoping for clarity, praying that courage will carry us through the storm that awaits. The hours before the storm felt suspended in time, thick with tension as Jonah lingered in a bubble of anticipation. The air was heavy, holding both fear and familiar faces close. In the dim light, laughter echoed softly off the walls as he exchanged stories with his comrades, the banter a brittle shield against encroaching dread. Each hollow joke masked the weight of unspoken worries, and through it all, Jonah felt the heat of uncertainty simmering within him. Memories of homes and families flickered to life, accompanied by the whispered hopes and regrets of those around him. He caught Tom's eye, a silent understanding passing between them, a promise forged in shared experiences. Jonah's heart raced, and he steadied himself, grounded by the resolve they nurtured together. The thrum of duty mingled with the echoes of their laughter, tethering him to the present as the world teetered on the brink of chaos. The air thickened with tension as we stood on the precipice of chaos, hearts pounding in unison. The landscape, once a serene reminder of home, transformed into a grim theater of war. When the command to advance was given, adrenaline surged through my veins. The deafening roar of gunfire drowned out everything but the instinct to survive. I saw comrades fall, their bodies swallowed by the dust and smoke, a haunting reminder of our precarious existence. In that moment, I felt an inexplicable bond with those beside me. We were more than soldiers. We were brothers intertwined in a dance with death. Each gunshot echoed a question: who would make it out alive? As chaos reigned, clarity broke through the noise. War was not just a battle of guns and men, but a brutal teacher, reshaping me in ways I could hardly comprehend. It was in the depths of this abyss that I truly began to understand sacrifice. The dust settled heavily in the aftermath of battle, transforming the once vibrant landscape into a haunting tableau of devastation. Jonah stood amidst the ruins, grappling with the weight of loss that pressed on his chest like an unyielding force. The echoes of gunfire had faded, leaving only the eerie silence that follows chaos, a silence thick with grief and unspoken fears. His comrades moved like ghosts, their faces hollowed by the heavy toll of survival. Each step he took felt burdened, each reminder of those they had lost a sharp pang in his heart. Jonah's thoughts drifted to the friends who would never again share laughter or camaraderie. In that stillness, he found a deepened appreciation for the fragile gift of life, a bittersweet understanding that resilience could thrive even amidst the shadows of despair. As he took a breath, a fragile hope flickered, a reminder that honoring their memories could light a path forward. The days following the battle felt heavy, with an unsettling quiet, each moment steeped in an eerie silence that echoed the loss of my friends. As we sat huddled in our makeshift quarters, we sought refuge in shared stories, laughing at the mundane while masking our grief. The scars of what we had witnessed clung to us like shadows, always lurking at the edge of our thoughts. We spoke of home, of future plans we had yet to fulfill, and the small victories that still flickered in the darkest corners of our minds. It was here in our unity that we found strength, a fragile hope binding us together against the haunting memories. I began to understand that healing would not be instantaneous. It would be a journey, marked by the bond we forged under the weight of our shared trauma. Resilience glimmered in us like a candle flame, flickering but refusing to be snuffed out. The reconnaissance mission began with a shroud of unease, each soldier acutely aware of the stillness that blanketed the landscape. As we moved through the fields, every rustle in the brush made my heart race, a stark reminder that danger lurked just beyond our sight. Conversations turned subdued, each whispered word heavy with anticipation. I glanced at my comrades, their faces a mix of resolve and apprehension, reflecting the shared burden of the unknown. We had fought together through hell, yet here, amid the quiet, the silence felt even more oppressive. Memories of past encounters flickered in my mind, their weight pushing down on my chest. Each step we took felt like a final preparation for what was yet to come, a prelude to the storm that would undoubtedly follow. In this calm before chaos, the bond we forged shone brighter, an unspoken promise to face whatever lay ahead together. As Jonah trudged through the war-torn landscape, the weight of despair began to lift when he stumbled upon a small farmhouse, its thatched roof adorned with wildflowers. With cautious curiosity, he approached, and the warmth of the scene unfolded before him. A family gathered around a modest wooden table, laughter mingling with the scent of freshly baked bread. The children's eyes sparkled with innocence, a stark contrast to the shadows that had crept into Jonah's world. Invited to join, Jonah felt an unexpected wave of solace wash over him as they shared food and stories. In their laughter, he glimpsed the beauty of human connection, fragile yet unyielding amidst chaos. Their kindness reminded Jonah of the life he had left behind, awakening a flicker of hope within his soul. For a brief moment, the war slipped away, and in their humble abode, he found a sanctuary of resilience that reignited his humanity, while reminding him of the enduring spirit of love in the darkest of times. As the sounds of war momentarily faded, a sudden downpour transformed the arid landscape into a shimmering tableau. Jonah watched the raindrops tap dance upon the ground, each drop a reminder of life's resilience. The earthy scent of wet soil enveloped him, offering a fleeting escape from the chaos that had become his reality. He stood amidst the ruins, awash in the cleansing power of nature, feeling the burdens of his heart lift ever so slightly. In that serene moment, memories of home flooded back, family gatherings, laughter, and the warmth of a sunlit afternoon. This rain, gentle yet persistent, became a symbol of hope, whispering promises of renewal even in the darkest of times. Jonah realized that, despite the brutality surrounding him, beauty could still persist. It was a reminder that life could begin anew, and with each drop, he dared to dream of a future beyond the war. The dirt was still warm from the afternoon sun as we gathered after the chaos of the ambush, but the warmth failed to reach my heart, now heavy with despair. The sudden loss of James, my steadfast friend, twisted the knife of grief deeper into my soul. He had been a constant source of light, his laughter echoing through the darkness of war, and now that light was extinguished. I struggled to process the senselessness of it all. How could bravery and sacrifice yield such devastating results? Conversations around me faded into a distant murmur as I wrestled with sorrow and anger, grappling with the reality that heroism came with an unbearable price. We whispered tales of him, each story tinged with love and a profound sense of loss, searching for meaning in our shared pain. In the depths of my grief, I realized that to honor him, I would need to redefine what it truly meant to be a hero. The war had begun to wane, but for Jonah, the battles raged on in his mind. As the conflict subsided, he found himself grappling with the toll it had taken on his spirit. Each day became a delicate balancing act as he navigated conversations with fellow soldiers about their shared experiences, laughter tinged with an undercurrent of unease. They'd reminisce about moments of courage and absurdity, but beneath the camaraderie lurked the silent acknowledgement of wounds that would never fully heal. Returning to civilian life was a daunting prospect. The vibrant colors of home felt muted, shades of happiness dulled by memories of loss and survival. Jonah's family welcomed him with open arms, yet a chasm lay between them, one filled with stories he couldn't share and emotions too complex to articulate. As he sought to reclaim a sense of normalcy, he realized healing would not come easily. It was a journey demanding time, understanding, and the strength to confront an altered self. Jonah stood at the threshold of his family home, the familiar scent of baked bread wafting through the air, yet everything felt askew, as if he were gazing at a painting that had lost its colors. His mother's laughter echoed in the hall, a sound he had yearned for amid the chaos of war, but now it felt distant, like a memory trapped beneath layers of time. As he stepped inside, the warmth of his family embraced him, but he struggled to bridge the gap between the boy who had left and the soldier who had returned. Disjointed conversations unraveled around him, filled with questions about his time away, but Jonah could only offer fragmented pieces, a smile here, a nod there, hiding the shadows that clung to him. Each moment of connection reminded him of the invisible wounds that separated him from loved ones. The joyous homecoming mingled with an unsettling sense of alienation, leaving him adrift in a world that felt both familiar and foreign. Jonah sat alone in his room, the weight of memories pressing heavily on his chest. Each echo from the past felt like a whisper reminding him of what he had lost. Friends who had become family, laughter now silenced forever, dreams interrupted by the brutal reality of war. He reflected on the resilience he had witnessed among his comrades, the strength born from shared grief and unyielding support. As he penned the final entries of his diary, he understood that these pages were not just a recollection of the past. They were a testament to survival, a guide for those who would follow. He vowed to carry forward the lessons learned, the importance of hope, the power of love, and the haunting beauty of memory. With a renewed sense of purpose, Jonah embraced the future, determined to honor those who had fallen by living a life filled with meaning and compassion.